let me just clarify. This is a GPT generated image based on data, so take it with a massive boulder of salt. But it does correlate with data that I think Andrew has been pointing out, that a lot of people pointed out. I asked GPT to generate a graph showing real wages adjusted for buying power from 2017 to 2025. Yep. You can see that when COVID comes around, it does drop significantly. It increases in the last year, but then in the Biden administration, it did drop quite a bit.
Yeah,
so,
real wages
wages may have increased, but buying power decreased, and that's not.
And so that's what we're talking about with real wages, right? It has to be on par with the buying power. That's how we're adjusting for the real wage. So under Trump, real wages went up more than anybody else in I think 40 or 50 years.
I don't know where that's.
And so the thing is like what's really interesting when you look at the data set for economics, no, people clearly know that their dollar wasn't going as far. And here's what they know. They know under Trump, I was doing better. Under Biden, I was doing worse. That's all you need. You don't need any more than that.
No, I do think it's fair to point out that COVID is anomalous and the average person has no frame of reference for what a recovery should or should not be. All that really mattered when it came to the election was that people didn't feel good.
And listen, that's uncontested. I don't dispute that at all.
I don't know how to send this to you, but I would love to. I don't know. That is the opposite of every single source I'm pulling up here. That is seeing we've gotten back to inflation-adjusted wages higher than they've ever been. So that being the exact wonky, I think might be a...
But again, I just want to say I'm not contesting what the perception of the economy is. Where I do agree with Luke, though, is it seems like when you compare us to other nations, how we recovered the soft landing from the pandemic, the fact that we avoided a recession, jobs, not only the bounce back jobs, but also the rate of jobs that increased per month under Biden were even higher than they were under Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're disputing the fact that we did better than a lot of first world countries when it comes to our purchasing
even
power.
G7, Myron, respectfully. I mean, even G7 countries like Japan.
Yeah, we were better than all of them. Yeah.
Oh, you said first world. I'm sorry, I thought you said third world.
No, first.
Dude, we were already on the upward trajectory under Trump before the COVID pandemic happened. All the numbers that most of the Democrats source, they sourced when the pandemic came in, the economy was shut down. Before that, the economy was skyrocketing. Yes, it was. And again, you can look at the real wages.
Well, I don't think he's disputing that.
Wait. I was saying we would never be let's compare Biden non-COVID to Trump COVID. Obviously, when you look at end of Obama to Trump, a lot of times I'll do those comparisons because Trump just kind of inherited the economy that was...
No, Biden inherited Trump's economy.
No,
that's what happened.
Disagree, yeah.
During an economic crisis. But yeah, you could pull up metrics, and the one that you just pulled up, again, I hope...
You just tell me what it is. I'll Google the title.
This one's U.S. News and World Reports. The other one is...
what's the title of the...
Okay, here, let me...
You can type it. Google.
Yeah, look, I don't think we're disputing that the U.S. was doing better than a lot of other countries, when it comes to our purchasing power, et cetera.
Americans' inflation-adjusted incomes...
I hear you,
I don't think we're disputing... We're not disputing that. I see you're making the argument that, hey, Joe Biden's economy isn't as bad as MAGA Republicans think it is. We can agree that we're better off than a lot of other countries. I mean, Japan is a great example where their yen just fucking tanked over the past few years.
We're doing better than China.
We're doing better. I can. We're not disputing that.
I guess my point is, if Biden had done such terrible things,
not in trade surplus though,
to spike inflation, because that was the big argument, right? Biden made bad, irresponsible decisions that caused inflation to spike. That's the one I'm trying to get to the core of. Because if you agree, he kind of managed things fine, and you could say it was because of Trump, it was because whatever, but just acknowledging we got out of it pretty dang well. And then you can attribute whatever to credit that for. That's a big difference from the mainstream right-wing message, which is that Biden messed things up.
Yeah, but the problem here
depends on in what regard did he mess things up. For me, for example, foreign policy, he fucked up. Right? The conflict with Ukraine and Russia, that actually drove up the cost of food significantly. No one talks about that for obvious reasons because Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. If you strain food in one area, it's going to strain resources in other areas, and the price goes up. So I find it interesting because Kamala campaigned on, I'm going to go after the grocery stores for price gouging, et cetera. But the Democrats created that problem with bad foreign policy, allowing conflict to happen, not keeping Russia in its place. So I think the issue here is I see where you're saying hey, the economy wasn't as bad given the circumstances. Okay, I can see your perspective on that, but we also got to look at other things like foreign policy where we're talking about where conflicts absolutely play into the price of food, the price of goods.
Energy prices.
For sure.
On that point, the moment at which Joe Biden's favorability dropped below 50% was the Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Can we read just since you pulled up? The inflation-adjusted median income of U.S. households rebounded last year to roughly its 2019 level, overcoming the biggest price spike in 4 decades to restore most Americans' purchasing power. So just since we put that other one up on the screen, I want to make sure we add that to it.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.